Rise and shine, ladies. You're tuned in to Skirts Up with Samantha and Melissa.
We got your daily dose of hope and humor while we discuss everything from failing to succeeding
and all the spiciness in between.
Hey, Skirts Up Squad. It's Samantha
and Melissa. Welcome to our show today. I'm really excited.
I am too. I want to remind y'all first off that we do have that YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe. And that's where you'll get to actually watch us do the On the Porch segment. Or, of course, you can just listen to us like you usually do. That works too.
Please rate and review us. That helps us a lot. We're trying to grow. And the more that you guys do that, the more we can get out there and maybe other people can find us.
Yes. So rate and review. Also, big, exciting announcement.
Wait, what?
Our merchandise is getting ready to go live on our website.
Yeah, that's exciting. And we've actually been selling shirts.
I am surprised and shocked and happy with how many shirts we have sold. Yeah. And we have koozies coming.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I'm excited about that.
I'm excited too. All right. So do you have a fail?
I do. I have one this morning.
Oh, yeah, you do, actually.
That is unusual for me.
Very unusual.
I knew that I needed to get up early this morning and get the kids where they need to go so I could get back and get onto this recording. But I took a sleeping pill last night and definitely did not wake up until one of the kids came to get me, and they were like, shouldn't we have left an hour ago? And I was like, yeah,
no.
Yeah, we should have. And so then I was the one rushing around trying to be on time and had to drive an hour one way, an hour back. But here we are. I did it on time with 40 minutes to spare.
Yeah.
It was Fast and the Furious driving for sure.
It was amazing. I was proud of you. I was like, well, and you were so funny this morning. You're like, I woke up late. And I was like, well, we're not recording till 12. What's going on? And then you're like, well, I have to do this and this and this and this. Oh, got you.
Yeah.
But you did it.
I did. It worked out. But it definitely felt like a fail, and it was very stressful.
Yeah.
In the time.
Yeah, I think so obviously I can relate to yours because I'm always the late one. I hope people can relate to my fail, because my fail is basically I get my house cleaned when people are going to come over. And
Same.
I feel like I kind of need to thank the people, thank you for coming and visiting, because now I have a reason to clean my house. But my mom came this weekend, and my fail is that I did not get the house clean in time. And then she had to sit there in the living room. I was like, don't go in the room yet. And I was like, I need a vacuum. And so she was so nice, and she was trying to help me, but I didn't want her to. She was a guest in my home. So I made her sit on the couch and just let me finish vacuuming and clean the bedroom. And then we could enjoy the weekend. But I should have started sooner.
Well, luckily it's our mom, and they're used to our chaos. So it's not, I think when it's our parents, we're not in that headset of oh, it has to get done. They're not going to care. They're still going to come over.
That is what she says. And she's probably right. But growing up, we were always had such a clean house, and it was always perfect.
Same.
My dad's OCD.
Same.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so it was, for me, I was just like, oh no, mom's going to see,
not perfect. Exactly.
But she didn't care.
My mom always had the house perfect, and because it had to be super clean before my dad got home.
Yep.
And so then I was like, why is my house never perfect? And then, drives myself crazy.
Yeah. Because you have these expectations that you grew up with
that no one else actually puts on you.
Right. Exactly. So anyway, so maybe it wasn't a fail. Maybe it was just real life happening in front of my eyes.
It's a fail to us, with the understanding that it's normal.
Yeah.
It's life.
Exactly. So, okay, can I finally say who and what we're talking about today? Who we're talking with?
Yes, we're feeding our curiosity some more.
All right, we are going to talk about lucid dreaming.
Yes.
And I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Because this is something I don't know a lot about, but I want to learn a lot more about it. And so
it's another fascinating thing. I feel like it's something that a lot of people maybe don't know it's a thing. If it has happened to them, then they probably maybe don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it's just one of those things where it's is it real? Is it not real? But I feel like our guest Amina is going to share some light on it and help us understand.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy to be here. Hopefully, my internet connection is good. It was giving me a little message. But yeah, I'm Amina. I also have a podcast called the Dream World Podcast, and I am a lucid dreaming coach. And I teach people about dreams, just everything regarding dreams, like what to do with them, how to record your dreams, how to understand them, and of course, lucid dreaming, which is my favorite part. And for those that don't know, it is real. To answer your question, lucid dreaming is basically when you become aware from within the dream. So you're dreaming and you are aware that, oh, this is a dream.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's a spectrum of that. Like, it's not easy, like black or white. You could be kind of aware or like kind of suspicious that something's not right and maybe it's a dream. Or you can have full awareness with full dream control. You can do whatever you want in the dream, fly around, talk to celebrities, whatever it is. There's a million things you can do in a lucid dream. So it's really fun. And there's a lot of like therapeutic potential. There's a lot of like growth potential there, and also just having fun. But you can also use it for real life practical applications, like practicing skills or preparing for presentations and a million other things. So hopefully that makes sense as an intro.
It does. That's such a good example. I have one immediate question. When I was younger, I knew somebody who said that she did something called astral traveling, but this is different, right?
So it depends who you ask.
Okay. So she said she taught me about what she would do. Is she called it astral traveling, and she said that she would, as she's going to sleep, she would envision like a string attached to her soul or whatever. I guess you want to call it. And then as she was going asleep, she said that she would have like control and she could go travel around the world. And she, like you said, talk to celebrities, do the different things that she wanted to do. And I understood her to take it as like a very literal thing. Like, she's not dreaming, she's traveling. Is that the same as lucid dreaming? That's a good question.
Yeah, it is a good question. So of course it depends who you ask, and they're definitely related. In my opinion, it really depends. So there's different types of lucid dreams. There's different levels. Like, some are just deeper than others, and you really go deep into the dream world and travel in other dimensions, and you're aware of this process. And some dreams are just our subconscious processing our daily lives and, you know, the things that we go through. Some people completely differentiate lucid dreaming and astral projection. Some people say that they're the same thing. I kind of see them as kind of like cousins, like different forms of out-of-body experiences, because essentially in both, we're unconscious or at an altered level of consciousness, and we're exploring this other dimension. But also, when it comes to like astral projection and things like that, you don't necessarily have to be asleep to do it. Like, you can do it through meditation or, you know, other forms of out-of-body experiences. Yeah, a lot of people have these travel dreams, but they're in meditation or in hypnosis or something like that. So they're not in REM sleep. Lucid dreams are usually always in REM sleep. So that's the difference. They're cousins, I guess.
Okay. I like that. Thank you.
Yeah, that does help see a difference. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Are we going to go into our little game? You guys know I like to have a game when we have a guest on. Amina had a great idea that we'll do kind of like 2 truths and a lie, but like 2 truths and a dream.
Okay. Are we all going to guess each other's, like, try to guess which one was the dream?
Yeah, I think we can all
like one at a time kind of thing.
I think that'd be fun.
Okay.
Let's do it. Who wants to go first?
Melissa.
Okay. Got it. Okay. So 2 truths and a dream. All right. So my first one is, I'm in the backyard. I'm 3 years old. There are targets taped to gallon milk jugs that are filled with sand, and I'm learning about gun safety and how to use and shoot a gun. The second one, a bug flew into my ear, and I freaked out and had to go to the emergency room, crying obviously the whole way because there was a bug in my ear, and it was horrible. Okay, the third one, I was in Japan, and I had somebody come up to me and tell me that she thought I looked exactly like a young Sharon Stone, which, one, I don't, but I was very flattered. And then in that same instance, someone else came up to me and said, you look like you look like the president's wife. And that year, the president's wife was George Bush's Barbara Bush. So yeah, I was told I looked like a young, gorgeous Sharon Stone and then an old Barbara Bush.
That's funny.
Those are my three.
Oh, man.
I feel like the third one is the dream.
I feel like I think that one is plausible. I feel like it's got to be the first or the second, and I'm kind of leaning towards the bug in the ear because I have like that giant fear. And so I'm wondering if you have that fear, and that's why it was a dream.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. So maybe Amina can shed some light on this because it is the second one. And I hope I didn't mess the game up because it's kind of like it was a dream that happened and turned into real life. So like I was sleeping and I felt what the doctor later told me was probably just like earwax dropping in my ear. And it woke me up and I thought a bug had crawled into my ear and I was just screaming and freaking out and I wouldn't turn my head up and my roommates were so nice and they drove me to the emergency room and then the doctor was just like, it's nothing and you're crazy. And I was so embarrassed. But so maybe I cheated because it was like a dream that like came into my real life.
Well, it still wasn't a bug.
Yeah, it was still a dream.
What do you think, Amina?
I mean, it's interesting because it is possible that like maybe you felt something in your sleep on your ear and then your brain kind of tried to make sense of it and created a dream where something was in your ear. Because we can still sense things when we're asleep. You know, we can smell things and kind of hear things. Or, you know, it's also possible that you kind of woke up with that stress of something being in your ear and then it played out throughout your day. Like it goes both ways, you know, the dream influences our waking life and our waking life also influences the dream. But there's so many instances of people of dreaming things that actually happen the next day or a month later. Like it happens a lot. So I think it goes both ways.
Right. That's okay. Thank you. That makes me feel a little more valid. All right. Who wants to go next? Should we save best? Let's save the best for last. Let's save the guest for last. So how about Sam, even though I do think you're the best in my eyes in many ways.
Oh, thank you.
Today, Amina is the best. So let's do you next.
Okay. Let's see. All right. So I'm jumping on a trampoline with my sister. And then I just, got a little carried away and I broke my sister's ankle. I was flipping a house with my husband and it just became magical and I fell in love with it and I decided to keep it. I'm walking around and I'm in a field and it's a farm. It has lavenders everywhere. There's horses and cows and all my dogs are there. And I decide that's where I want to live the rest of my life.
Oh,
that's nice.
I feel like I have some insight on which this one would be.
I don't know. So
we should
because I don't know anything
first.
about you. I'm going to guess the first one. That sounds like a nightmare. But hopefully you didn't actually do that. But if you did, hopefully she's okay.
I feel like knowing you, that probably happened. And I hate poor Hannah. But I would guess it's the last one because you had a lot of details that you threw in that just seemed so beautiful. And I know you, and we both kind of have some of the same dreams, like hopes and dreams.
Uh-huh.
And that seems like maybe a dream that happened to you that actually is reflecting some of your true hopes and dreams.
That is
to live on a farm.
Funny. Yeah, so we did have to go to the doctor. I didn't break my sister's ankle. I definitely sprung the hell out of it.
Okay.
It was a whole deal. It was a whole thing. So that did happen. And I want to say I didn't do it on purpose, but I might have. And then Melissa, it's so funny that we're able to pick up on each other's kind of because yes, the farm with the lavenders, the horses, the cows, that is something that is the goal. And I see it in my dreams all the time. And it is something that we're working towards and it will happen someday. But it's something right now that I just see in my dreams all the time.
I love that. I do that too. I love to see
Amina,
my manifestations in my dreams.
Yeah. Do you feel like,
Yeah, it's totally possible. And that's one of the things you can use lucid
That's what I was
dreaming
going to ask you if you felt like.
Yeah.
to kind of work towards a goal?
Yeah.
Or you're saying like...
For sure. Like, so if you're lucid, you can kind of create the dreamscape that you just want to live in. And you're fully aware, but also you have your full sensations in the dream. So it's like a fully immersive VR game. Like you can feel things just like you can in waking life. So sometimes I kind of do the same. I have like a similar dream of like this farm, homestead, and like all this beautiful like land and gardens. And sometimes in my dream, I create that. And every time I go back to that dream, it's like the same and I add on to it, but I'm fully conscious of it. So it's like I'm experiencing it. And it's like visualization times 1,000, because not only are you visualizing your dream, you're like feeling it. Like you're feeling the grass and you're riding the horses and smelling the lavender. And it's so realistic. And like your whole family's there. And so it's cool to dream about it. But when you're lucid and dreaming about it, it's just like so much more vivid and like, yeah. And it really does like help create that like reality, like in my opinion, I guess. It helps you attract that future to yourself because you're like experiencing it, you're feeling it. So yeah, that's why they say like, you know, if you can dream it, you can do it.
Yeah.
So they're
like positive affirmations.
Yeah. And then from your explanation of that, so there is a difference between reoccurring dreams and lucid dreaming.
Yeah. So they can overlap. Like a reoccurring dream is just a regular non-lucid dream, or it could be a lucid dream. It's just a dream that you have like in a pattern. So you have it more than once. It, you know, it comes in like cycles, or you have it often throughout a certain period of time. And a lot of times when you become lucid in a recurring dream, because it's recurring, you're able to train your brain like, okay, next time I see this dream or this character or whatever it is that's defining the dream, I will realize that it's a dream. I won't just go along with the story of the dream thinking that it's real life. I will realize it's a dream because I recognize it. And it takes some like mental training, but then you become lucid and you can either like interact with it on a deeper level or change this dreamscape. If it's like a recurring nightmare, you can like confront the scary figure or whatever. And it usually helps you like overcome or just take it to a deeper level. So yeah, it can be a recurring dream, but yeah, lucid dream just means you're aware of the fact that it's a dream. So you can be lucid in a nightmare, in a recurring dream. You can be lucid. You can be lucid in your waking life. Lucid just means mindfully aware of the present moment.
That makes me have another question about the use of lucid dreaming. Do people ever use it for trauma healing?
Yeah, all the time. That's a great use for it. Especially people with like PTSD and like dreams that are recurring in terms of their trauma. You can really use it for a lot of transpersonal healing because you can go into the dream and you can ask your subconscious to help you work through things. You can talk to dream characters, which are essentially just representations of yourself, ask them for advice or kind of work through a traumatic event and like see it differently, or ask the dream to help you. There's a lot of different ways to get this like creative healing and problem solving. So yeah, that's like one of my favorite uses for it. It's also good for like mitigating like anxiety and depression and that kind of thing.
That's really intriguing to me. I like that aspect of it.
Me too. I actually have some more questions, but I don't want to skip far ahead where we don't get to do.
Give us your dream.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So my 3 scenarios are, I went to school to visit an old teacher, and there was a bunch of children smoking candy cigarettes. Second scenario, I got to work and I realized I didn't have shoes on and I had to freak out and had to go back home. 3, I saw a bear on a hiking trail and just walked by and I got really scared, but luckily it didn't hurt me or anything.
Whoa. I wish it was the bear, but I feel like it's 2 because wouldn't you catch yourself walking to the car without shoes?
One would think, but I've definitely gone to school and to work without shoes on.
No way. Okay. All right. So that was my guess. What's yours then?
I am going to go with. I'm going to go with either 1 or 3. I want to say 3, but surely 1 did not happen. I'm going with 3.
Okay.
So the dream is number 1. I actually have so many like weird dreams. It was hard to like pick one. So I tried to pick a kind of mild one. But yeah, that was a dream. And in the dream, I was like, why are the teachers letting this happen? Yes. But I didn't become lucid. And then, yeah, I did.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, that's why I was like, surely that wasn't real.
Yeah. And then I did go to work with no shoes on once. That was really embarrassing.
Really? Oh, I love that so much about you now. I'm like, she's human.
I will say that when I forgot to wear my shoes to work, I was like mega pregnant. And so, pregnancy brain.
Yeah, I have no excuse. I was just all over the place.
Life is an excuse. Let me tell you,
It is.
like life is a lot sometimes. Do you mind if I kind of start with a question
Yeah,
for
sure.
you? When I when I was little, and I'm like probably under the age of 5, I was having these reoccurring nightmares. Zombies were chasing me through a theater. And my dad told me that if you can remember in the dream that it's a dream, then they can't catch you and they can't hurt you. And so then I remember that my dreams, they would come back and I would say, well, wait, this is a dream. And it was like, it worked. They would stop.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so my dad did kind of teach me, it sounds like, a little bit about lucid dreaming, but I think and I don't know if it worked because like in my mind, I believed my dad and what he was telling me was true. I'm not sure why it worked, but it worked. And I feel like he was teaching me about lucid dreaming, but I didn't realize that I could build on that. And it sounds like you can like create your own lucid dreams. And I wish all these years I had known that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
For sure. So your mentality definitely plays a role. Like if you believe in a lucid dream, something's going to happen, that plays a role in how the dream's going to go. Or if you believe that you're going to get lucid, like beliefs are a big thing in waking life, but especially in dreams. And yeah, it seems like he was teaching you how to become lucid. That's one of my favorite things is like teaching children how to become lucid because children are such natural dreamers and they have a lot of nightmares. So it's easy to teach a child, hey, next time this nightmare tries to haunt you, just do a Harry Potter spell on it or whatever. You can teach children to get really creative in their lucid dreams. So that's really cool that you kind of had him to guide you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what's really funny? So it was like a week after Amina and we had a brief little meeting to discuss lucid dreaming and, what we wanted out of this episode. And I was sitting at the breakfast table and thing one, so my oldest child, he was telling me about how he has this reoccurring dream about a T-Rex, a dinosaur chasing him. And he says that he has it all the time. And he goes, yeah, but the last time I had it, like I knew it was a dream. And I just looked at him and I was like, what? Like in your sleep, you knew it was a dream? And he goes, yeah. Yeah. He was like, I knew that this has already happened. And then I woke up and I was like, thing one, that is what I'm learning about. I was like, that is so cool. And then I tried to see if he would get on the episode with us and like talk about it. And he was not interested. But
he declined.
He declined. But I thought it was so funny.
Yeah, that's great. He's definitely becoming a lucid dreamer. So now, you can give him some tips and like encourage him. I always tell people like, ask your kids what they dreamt about. Like, open up that like breakfast conversation with them. It's always cool to see what's going on in their heads at night. And children are usually natural lucid dreamers and they don't even know it. Like I started having lucid dreams when I was 8 and nobody really taught me how to do it. Wow. I didn't even know what it was, to be honest, kind of like you. I just was like, oh, this is a dream. And I would wake myself up or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until years later, like high school, college, when I realized like, oh, I can actually stay in the dream and control it and do all this cool stuff. Like, cool. So yeah, it's cool to have somebody when you're a kid telling you to be lucid.
Tell us about your first lucid dreaming and how that experience fueled your curiosity. You answered that. Mm-hmm. So the next question I have is, when you realized this, was there a mentor that was helping you understand it, or how did you come across that this is lucid dreaming and this is what's happening?
I didn't really have a mentor at first. It was a lot of self-exploration and a lot of Googling. And I did find out just by going online, like, oh, that's what a lucid dream is. And I started reading about it because I was really into psychology and just like, consciousness and that kind of thing. But around COVID, like around the time I started my podcast, I just started meeting people online just by searching and going in groups and on Reddit and stuff. I started meeting other lucid dreamers and people that are like, oh, try this next time you're in a dream. And I've been dreaming my whole life too. And it was like, oh, wow, I feel so seen. Like there's other people that think this is like the coolest thing ever. I'm not crazy. So that really fueled it for me, was meeting people. And through there, the community was kind of like a mentor to me because there were some people that were more advanced lucid dreamers than me, and then I would teach other people. So it was just like this big community. And that's kind of what led me to start a podcast about it. I was like, we need to talk about this more. But I did take a couple like online course certifications too. Some people do like dream certifications and things like that, just so that I could like officially feel good with like coaching other people. But yeah, that was kind of like the journey of it.
That makes sense.
So
It is really cool.
what would a dream certification course entail exactly?
Oh, that's a good question.
I'm so curious.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few different ones. Some people just teach people how to lucid dream. The one I did was I did two. One was for actually my credits for school. It's like through an actual university that does these courses. They offer them as electives, and they're about like Jungian psychology of dreams and, like the neuroscience of dreaming and things like that. Because now there's a whole organization that like researches dreams scientifically. And then I also did one with just somebody in the community that teaches people how to lucid dream and like teaches them how to like start a business around dream work and things like that. So both of those was like really awesome to me.
Oh, wow.
Interesting. So starting a business around dream work, I have to ask, sorry, I feel like we're going to be like, there's so many questions. Are you saying that they have a dream that inspired them to start a business, or they already have this idea and then they try to lucidly dream about seeing the business grow?
Both. I mean, sometimes a dream will give you an inspiration for an idea and you're like, oh, wow, I should do that. And then, it inspires. I mean, dreams have inspired the creation of so many legendary inventions and songs and things that we use every day in society that you would be surprised. But also, it also teaches you how to go into the dream and work on your idea, like plan out the blueprint, work it out like while you're asleep, get ideas for what's the next step, what am I missing, what do I do next, how do I turn this to the next level and things like that. Like you can really ask your dreams for advice and guidance in that sense. And be productive in your dreams. You can also do fun stuff. You don't have to use your dreams to do work and business, but it is one possibility.
Right. I like that you said ask yourself things in your dreams, because it's like there's probably a part of us that knows what we need. And I feel like that's how I feel like a lot of different like prayer and religion and tarot cards and a lot of things like that kind of come back to, well, the answer's already inside of you. And it sounds like it's a little bit of that with the dream work too. Like, and even if there's neuroscience going into it, like clearly there's something inside of us that we already know kind of fueling this, it sounds like to me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so dreams, like when your conscious mind that chatters and you have all these voices in your head, your conscious mind is kind of resting, but your unconscious or your subconscious comes out, which is all the things that you store in the back of your brain and you're not even aware of it, all of your memories, even people that you see passing on the side of the street that you don't even consciously pick up. And when we're sleeping, our brain is constantly already problem solving and working things out and planning out, our lives and trying to get this creative problem solving without the chatter of your conscious mind. So we're able to do more free associative thinking. We're able to look deeper into our minds about repressed traumas or even just ideas that we need to work on. That's where the term sleep on it comes from. Sleep on it, you'll wake up and you'll have more clarity on it. It's because of that.
Interesting.
So earlier you mentioned that the dream world has different levels and different dimensions. What does that mean?
Yeah, so this is something that science can't fully explain yet. And that's what I love about dreams. It bridges the science and the metaphysical. But science is getting there. So these are just my own theories and thoughts. But I definitely believe that when we're dreaming, we enter another dimension. And I think that we don't really fully understand reality and what it really means to be in this physical reality. But when you're lucid in a dream and you're looking around like, wow, I'm in a dream right now, and this is a totally different environment than what I'm used to, it's like mind blowing. Like I'm really standing in another dimension right now. And a lot of lucid dreamers can relate to that feeling. So it's like, I definitely think there's different levels of reality, and sometimes through dreaming or other altered states of consciousness, these become more available to us. So it's not like we go somewhere, more so that it's always there. It just becomes more available and we can perceive more of what's out there, more than just our physical reality. So yeah, I like to say that we live part-time in a different dimension. I think it's kind of fun idea.
I like that.
When you say that, does that mean you could visit like the spirit dimension?
Yeah, for sure.
The past lives dimension?
Yeah, because dreams are
Really?
not bound by linear time. So we know now that time is an illusion and it's not linear. Even in our physical reality, like time moves differently on heavier planets and things like that. So in our dreams, we're not restricted by physical time
yes,
or
that's
the laws
true.
of physics, right? So we can visit the past, the future. I've seen like my future kids in my dreams and my past lives and all these things. And you can visit people that have passed away. So like other spirits, like your ancestors or grandparents or long lost friends can come visit you, or you can visit them. So yeah, it allows us to perceive more. And a lot of people learn about their soul's journey through dream work.
Interesting.
Do you fully believe that the future children that you saw, like those are going to be your children?
I do, and it's hard to say because I've had more than one dream where I'm seeing them, and even if they don't look exactly like that, because sometimes they'll appear in different ways, I do feel 100% that my future children are lingering around my physical reality, my dream space, because I talk to them and think about them all the time. Like I've always wanted kids. So I know they're out there. They just haven't like manifested into my physical reality yet. But like when they visit me in my dreams, I'm like, yeah, working on it. So yeah.
Wow.
Man, I just keep getting more and more curious about this. This is so interesting.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay. So can you give us some tips? How do you teach to lucid dreaming?
That was one of my biggest questions right now.
Yeah, that's a great question. Anybody can do it. So I just want to say first that it is a learnable skill. So even though some people might have natural lucid dreams as a kid, like everybody can learn. So the first step would just be to start writing your dream down and building your dream recall, right? You have to have dreams to remember them. And it's about loving all of your dreams first, not just like tunnel vision on like, I want a lucid dream. So start keeping a dream journal and know that it can take some time. It's like going to the gym, it can take a couple of weeks or months to see results. You're not going to have like a 6-pack after one day of trying. So like know that it's like a patience game. It's like it takes motivation. And then have a dream plan as well. Like what do you want to do in your lucid dream? I have this list online that I'll share the link, but it's called the ultimate list of things to do in a lucid dream, which I just put together with some of my friends. But basically it tells you like just different ideas of things you can do in a lucid dream. And the reason being is like if you have a dream plan, you're already setting the intention of not only you want a lucid dream, but you know what you're going to do in the dream. Like you're more prepared. So you don't just become lucid and like blank out and wake up. So it's really about training your brain to realize you're in a dream. And a lot of that work is done in your waking life. So there's a lot of techniques that you can look up if you look online. And it's really about finding what works for you. Some techniques involve setting intentions. Some techniques involve like waking up in the middle of the night when you're in REM sleep and then going back to sleep with more awareness. Some techniques involve how you wake up in the morning. It's really about your lifestyle and what works for you. But what I recommend people to start with is always dream journaling. That's the foundation for everybody. And then reality checks, which is also essentially waking life awareness. So dream awareness begins with waking life awareness. So I would say that is the next big step before doing all these techniques and stuff is like, how aware are you throughout the day? Are you on autopilot or are you lucid? Are you aware? Are you like stop to smell the flowers, so to speak? Like, are you taking in your environment? Because that lucidity is what's going to carry over into your dream space. So you can do it. Like there's this thing called reality checks or state tests, which is basically where you stop to think, okay, am I in a dream right now? And how do I know if I'm in a dream or not? Like, obviously, we're not in a dream, right? It feels like a silly question. But in a dream, you also think the same thing. Like, this could be a dream and we would just be going about this podcast.
Right.
So you really got to test your environment. So, like, you can do anything that would act weird in a dream. But what I like to do is, like, pull on my finger. Nothing's happening right now. But in a dream, it, like, stretches like rubber all the way. And it's like, oh, I'm in a dream, duh. But you can do anything to test your reality. I can like stick my hand through this screen and see if it goes through, because in a dream it will like ripple like water and I'll jump through the screen. or whatever, like dreams can act in weird ways. But it's basically doing that throughout the day. And one thing I tell people is like, use your dream journal. So like if you commonly dream of being in the bathroom or of being in the car, or if you commonly dream of a cat, every time you see these things in your waking life, every time you see a dream sign, use it as a trigger to do a reality check, because then you're basically training your brain to think, okay, here's a dream sign. Am I dreaming? And the next time you see that dream sign, you'll be like, oh, I'm dreaming. And that's why recurring dreams are really good for lucid dreaming, because it gives you an anchor to like train your brain to realize next time I have this dream, I will realize I'm in a dream. So I tell people, find what works for you and start reading up about it. Like the more you research lucid dreaming and the more you try things out and experiment, the more chances you'll get of increasing your lucidity. And it's a journey, you might get lucid the first time for like 1 second, and then maybe the next one will be a little longer, and so on. So just embrace the journey, really.
Would this make you tired when you wake up? Like, are you still resting?
You're still resting because you're not missing out on your regularly scheduled REM sleep.
I actually was wondering that too. Sorry.
Yeah, you're not missing out on REM sleep. So a lot of people feel even more rejuvenated, actually. And it depends. Like, I can't speak for everybody, obviously. Some people are like, oh my God, I just dreamt all night, I feel exhausted. But that's not the majority, especially for beginners. It's rejuvenating. You're still sleeping. Your brain actually, like, it's a misconception that our brain is shut off while we're asleep, because our brain is actually very active while we're asleep, consolidating memories and processing things. So when we're lucid, we're just aware of that process. And it's just really fun. Like, you wake up feeling like excited and happy. It's literally like a natural antidepressant.
Oh, that's so interesting. Because when she was when you were talking, Amina, about doing reality checks during the day and how dreaming starts with making sure that we're awake. You said it starts in the waking world. And I was like, wow, interesting. Because I feel like sometimes I go through my life not being it's
like when you drive an autopilot, like, and you're like, how the fuck did I get to work? Like, I don't even remember the drive.
I feel like I'm just going through because I'm so tired. Yeah. And then I'm thinking, well, maybe I don't want a lucid dream, but it sounds like it doesn't matter. Our minds are already awake and doing work while we're asleep. And if we can be maybe more in touch with ourselves, maybe I'm actually self-sabotaging by not being as self-aware sometimes. Actually, that is a very dumb comment. Of course, I'm self-sabotaging if I'm not being self-aware.
That's funny.
You're making me think so many things.
Right? What came to my mind as she was explaining her reality checks and like what would happen in a dream if she did this versus in real life, it makes me think, and I got goosebumps, like literally I still get goosebumps like thinking back about it, because it makes me think of my favorite book series and movie. I even have a tattoo of it, Divergent. So like when they're doing their test, a divergent person, it sounds exactly like lucid dreaming. Now that I'm learning about it, it sounds like a divergent person realizes they're in a simulation and they make happen what would be successful to help them get through. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, now I want to know if the author of that book is a lucid dreamer, and is that where the idea came from?
Oh, interesting.
That's cool. Yes, I love that series. And when I saw the movie, I literally kind of thought the same thing. I was like, this kind of feels like a dream. It's like you're waking up from within this simulation that you're in. So yeah, that's really cool. I wonder if they are lucid dreamers. A lot of movies and books that are kind of metaphysical and spiritual and out there, like, I guarantee you that they're either lucid dreamers or they're just existential thinkers, because it's all kind of related.
Right.
That is so fun. Yeah. Now I'm going to hunt down the author and I'm going to see if I can like beg them to get on and be like, can we talk about this? You mentioned that you and your friend created a list of fun and interesting things that you should and could do in a lucid dream. What are some of those?
Yes. So it's called the ultimate list of things to do in a lucid dream. If you Google that, it should pop up, but it's also on my website. And there's different categories. So there's like things like superpowers, like teleport places. Like I like to visit like Egypt and all these places I've never seen before. You can like fly around. You can do martial arts like in the Matrix and do all this crazy parkour superpower stuff. And then there's the more then there's the more healing stuff. So like subconscious work, face your fears, practice skills, master sports, resolve memories. You can meet different versions of yourself and talk to dream characters, which is things I like to do. Just inquire, like ask dream characters different things and like see if they have their own mind or if they're just kind of like a part of me. You can also you can do spiritual stuff like talking to spirit guides and ancestors or angels or whatever, any religious beliefs that you have. You can work with that in a dream, which is also really fun. Visit different dimensions. You can go into your favorite movie or TV show, go to Harry Potter world and do like Hogwarts spells and things like that. Go to space, So many different things. Like I could talk forever about things, like anything you can think of, you can do in a dream. And that doesn't mean that the dream is going to react exactly how you want it to. Like just because we're lucid doesn't mean we can control every aspect of the dream. But it's good to try and know what you want to do. Like sometimes it takes me like a few lucid dream attempts to actually do a dream task that I was trying to do, because maybe the dream didn't do what I wanted, or I didn't get, the dream wasn't stable or whatever. So, understand that just because you're lucid doesn't mean we have full control. So it takes some effort, but that's what I love about it, is that it's not just like an easy thing. It takes some like personal growth and some work, but it's good to know what you want to do.
Yeah.
That gives me two questions.
I have one too.
One, you said that you could learn new skills like martial arts. If you're lucid dreaming and you don't know anything about martial arts, like are you gonna wake up and be like, oh, now I know how to parkour or martial, karate chop through bricks?
Yeah, so it definitely helps, but obviously if you've never done the thing in waking life, there's only so much you can learn. But if it's a skill that you're already kind of familiar with, like let's say you're a snowboarder already, and then you practice skills in the dream, your brain is registering these neural pathways of practicing the skill. So you literally it is helping you, it is benefiting you. And in the dream, you don't have you're not worried about breaking an arm, you're not worried about gravity. So if you're a snowboarder and you're practicing your tricks, you're perfecting it in the dream. It's like visualizing it, which is already scientifically proven that when you visualize stunts, you can perform them better. But if you've never done something before, even though you can't fully learn only in the dream, like you need the waking life practice to supplement what you practice in the dream, it can still help you. Like it can inspire you. Maybe it'll pique your interest to start a new hobby. I do things in my dreams that I can't do all the time, like parkour and playing instruments. And it's not like I wake up with perfect ability, but I do feel like I've done the thing. Like I feel like I experienced it because I was lucid and I was doing it and it was fun. So it's still a memory that I cherish.
Okay. Second thing that it makes me think of. So you said you like to ask your dream characters questions and see if they have a mind of their own or if it's just kind of just made up. Do you think two people can share the same dream and that you are potentially having a conversation with a person with their own mind?
Yes, I personally do. And there's some research on it, but it's very hard to prove scientifically. So I'll just talk about my own personal experiences. I've had a lot of dreams where the dream characters are like, and I'm lucid, of course, and the dream characters are like, yeah, I'm a lucid dreamer too. I live in London. Like, this is my Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Like, let's meet up or let's be friends. And they tell me about their lives and they tell me their whole life story. Like, I couldn't have just made it up on my own unless I'm very creative. And I also have lucid dreamer friends that we have this experiment that we're doing where we try to meet up in the dream space and exchange keywords. And we've been pretty close to exchanging each other's keywords. Like, I don't know her word, she doesn't know my word kind of thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it is interesting. It's like a game of broken telephone. It's like we get super close but not exact because it's like our brains are trying to translate a message to each other from within the dream. But yeah, I do think so. And this is something that I'm actually interested in researching. So I will be going into like the research field with it. But I do fully believe that we can share a dream space. And the amount of people that have reported shared dreaming, especially with people you're close to, like, yeah, like me and my mom had the same dream, or me and my friend, we had the exact same dream. Like somebody will dream of like baking their friend a cake, and then their friend will dream of they received a cake from that friend. So it's like the exact same dream. Like you can't make that up. And
Oh, wow.
this happens
Yeah.
so often, like not just coincidence. So it's like, yeah, why don't people believe in it? I don't know, but I fully believe it.
That's so funny because that's true. I don't remember this dream, but so one time my sister and I were sleeping in the same bedroom. We like to have like little sleepovers sometimes. And my mom said she like heard chatter. And so she, peeked into the room and she said we were both asleep. And that I said, "Stop. The last cookie is mine." And my sister said, "No, it's mine and I'm eating it." And she was like, it's like we were literally talking to each other, but she was like, "Y'all were both asleep." And I was like,
That's
whatever.
so cool. Yeah, you were probably sharing a dream. It happens a lot. We don't even realize it.
Yeah, no, I have no recollection of that dream.
Wow. That's insane. It makes me feel like, how do you know that this is not the dream?
That's the $1 million question.
Reality check, Melissa.
Essentially, life is a dream, right? Like that's the big trip of it all is like, this is just a dream. And when we die, it's like, okay, well, now on to the next adventure. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That was my husband when I was telling him about what we're talking about and like the curiosity that it makes me think. He said that he thinks that this is why people believe that we live in a simulation, because if lucid dreaming and dimensions and all this stuff is real, why wouldn't some people take that as we are living in a simulation? Like anything's possible.
Yeah, for sure. It kind of feels like a simulation, maybe not like a technological computer board like Matrix, but maybe it's like a spiritual simulation that we created ourselves. And like when we dream, we kind of take a break from it and then we come back. I don't know. I understand the theory.
What if we're in another person's dream and it's not even ours?
Yeah. And that's just us living our life.
Yeah, but it's real to us. So that's our experience.
What do you think about that?
Yeah. I mean, if it's like our experience, then it's that's reality.
Yeah.
So it really like at the end of the day, maybe I used to have this like fear as a kid, like what if I'm in a coma and this is all just my coma dream? And now I'm like, yeah, okay, maybe, but it's still my life. So it's still valuable.
Oh, wow.
Right.
It's funny that you say that because I like to write, I like to write novels, but I like start halfway, get through, then have another grand idea and I jump to the other. One of the novels that I half wrote, the person is in a coma and doesn't realize that their whole life that just happened was was a dream basically. And so then they wake up and none of it happened.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of stories of people that actually have dreams like that, even like children, where they'll have a dream, but it's like a whole life, like years of a dream where they grow up, have a job, they have kids, they have a family, they wake up and go to sleep every day, and it's been like 10 years, and then they wake up and it's just like the next day of their like teenage life, and they're like mourning, literally like you're feeling the loss of this whole life you just experienced, and now you're back and the next day and you're just again in your life again as a child or whatever. And this happens, like I've heard of it a lot. So it's kind of crazy to think about. Like maybe we are living a bunch of lives at once.
That just gave me goosebumps again.
Me too.
That is wild.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it made me wonder if like it has something to do with past lives too, or maybe the lives aren't past.
She did say she travels to past lives and
right. So interesting.
This is wild. Okay, so I wanted to analyze a dream and
But wait, so are you a dream an analyzer too?
So kind of. It's not like I can tell you what your dream means, but I would love, if you want to share a dream, we can go through the process of how I teach people to analyze dreams. And it's basically like you share a dream and then me and whoever did not share a dream, we're going to ask you clarifying questions and just trying to understand the dream as if we had experienced it. And then we'll give our own associations. But it's very important that anybody that does dream work says that, like, I can't tell you what your dream means, but like we can figure it out together and think about possibilities. So yeah, let's give it a shot.
When you and I had our conversation, and one of the questions was, I Google to see like what a symbol means, like when I see a snake or whatever. You said that it's okay and cool to Google, but just because Google says that a symbol means this, it's going to be different to every person because there's so many variables.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where the clarifying question comes in. It's called the dream interview method. So like if you share a dream and we pick out all the symbols that are prominent in the dream, it's a lot of back and forth between us and the dreamer. Like, how do you associate with this symbol? What's your experience with this symbol? And like getting some thoughts from the dreamer. So then we can be like, okay, so maybe it's this or that, and just build that free associative thinking instead of depending on Google to tell you what it means.
Okay, so I can't remember like a lot of the whys and stuff of like why things were happening, but so I had a dream and I was driving in the car to I don't know what my actual destination was, but I'm driving in the car and then I fell asleep at the wheel,
Oh no.
but I don't crash, nothing happens. I get to where I was trying to go and I guess it looks kind of like an apartment complex only because it has a gate and like people live there, but I don't think it was. And then it opens up into this like water hole. And as you walk down the path to the watering hole, it says like, don't get in the water, alligators. But we get in anyways. And then there's like snakes everywhere while we're in the water and they're like slithering towards us and like we're scared and trying to get away, but they're not like actually trying to attack us. And then the alligators pop up and again, they're not trying to attack us either, but we're like now frightened because they're there. And then someone comes down the path and they're like, guys, an illness has broken out. You guys need to get out now and
It's
take
way
care
more
of the
interesting.
children. And so then we're like, oh, we have to go take care of the children. Okay. And then we get out. And then that's kind of all I remember. I remember kids being sick with like some weird disease and then having to explain to a bunch of parents why that happened. But anyways,
Okay.
Okay. So
I have so many questions.
okay, great. So the way we're going to do this is you said your dream and then normally like we would have the person share the dream again, but we don't have to do that. I took notes on everything. So the first step is like questions. So we're basically going to ask her questions like in order for us to get a clear vision of the dream as if we were there dreaming the dream. So like anything that you need to ask her to get a clear vision of the
Okay.
dream. This is not like oh, what do you think about this? That's the second phase. So I'll start it off, for example. So like my first question was like this water hole.
Okay.
Can you describe it? Like what color was it? How big was it? Like, describe it as best as you can remember.
it was like being in a cave. Like we travel a lot. And so it kind of reminds me of like this place in Jamaica where like you could boat to like a little hole in the rocks and then you would get out of the boat and you could swim into the cave and then it opens up. And so you're like, there's, it's
A grotto.
maybe, yeah, it's like rocks, like you're in a cave. And then the watering hole, I know I couldn't see like my feet or anything, but I don't think it was like murky by any means. I just couldn't see through the water.
Yeah. Okay. And then
Okay.
another question.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm curious if when you were driving in the beginning of the dream, you had an idea or if you knew where you were going.
I do not recall knowing where I was going, and I recall having one adult in the passenger seat. I don't think anyone else was in the car.
Okay.
Okay, and then when you were at this watering hole, was that the same person with you, or were there more people around going into the water?
Just with that one person, and I honestly cannot remember who it was. I
Oh.
want to say it was Simon, but I'm not 100% sure.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it was a male figure or female?
I'm pretty sure it was male, and I'm pretty sure it was Simon. I just don't remember completely.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so you got into this water knowing that there was a sign that said there's alligators here, don't get in. But you got in anyways. At that point, were you scared, or can you like walk me through the emotions in the dream and like at what point you got scared and what the other feelings were? Feelings are a big thing.
Okay.
No, the person I was with just jumped right in and they were like, don't be scared. Just get in. It's
Oh.
fine. There's nothing here, obviously. And so then I get in. And so we didn't know about the snakes or whatever until we were in the water. And then you see like big snakes like on the side of the rocks, like where I had just jumped in from. And that's what really scared the shit out of me. And I'm like, okay, nope.
Okay.
Okay, but you didn't get out until somebody came and told you to get out because of the illness, right? Or did you get out because of the snakes and alligators?
I was scared and I was trying to get out, but I don't feel like I was getting anywhere. And then when the person came to say like, y'all need to get out, like there's an illness, there's alligators in this water, get out, is when I was able to finally like climb out of the water.
But the illness was like did it have something to do with the water that you were in or the pool?
No,
or was it?
we were. It's like we were in a different country with a bunch of children, like a school or something. And someone was saying, "Hey, all the children are getting sick. We need to go talk to the parents and tell them what's happening."
Okay.
Yeah.
So were you like a chaperone? Like, were you kind of responsible for these kids, or were you just like on your own exploring?
Yeah. It was like I was a chaperone and I was on free time is basically like what had happened.
Interesting.
So like my daughter was in it, my middle child.
Oh.
Okay. And so like now I'm going to ask some like associative questions with these dream symbols. So like the main dream symbols here that are coming up are like this watering hole, snakes and alligators, and the illness and the driving, of course. I mean, they're all symbols. They're all powerful, but those are just the ones that stand out to me. So like I'm curious about the alligators and snakes. What's your normal like association with them in waking life?
I find alligators very fascinating. I would not get into water with them, but when I was little, I got to sit and pet and hold an alligator, and I've always been like pretty obsessed with them, and I like to go see them. Snakes, I have a lot of irrational fears with snakes.
Okay, interesting balance there. Okay, last question that I have for now.
I know.
So you said they didn't attack you, right? They were just chilling. Did they show any signs of like danger, or was all the fear just from you?
Oh.
I don't know. I don't think the alligators were doing anything. Like we knew that they were in the water. I remember seeing like, the eyeballs and stuff like popping out of the water, but like they weren't making any moves and we weren't like necessarily trying to get away from them. They're just there. We're just there. And it's the snakes on the side that freaked me out because, like one of them started to like come into the water and I was like, hell no, get me out of here.
You felt threatened as if it was going to come
for
for you?
the snake. Uh-huh.
Okay.
And then the illness part, it's always more questions that come up. Were you worried about your own daughter? You said she was there. Like, was she affected by this illness, or was she even around?
She did not have the illness, but everyone that she was personally like interacting with has shown signs of the illness. So we were like anticipating that she was going to start showing signs. And so I had to call her dad and be like, hey, so this is happening. Just a heads up.
Okay, interesting. So any more questions before we go on to the next part?
I don't think so.
Okay. It's okay if they come up later. So this next part, which is great that you two know each other a bit better. So then we have both sides of like how, connected we are to the dreamer. So this next part is where we say, okay, what we associated it with. But it's really important in dream work to say like, if this were my dream, or some variation of like, I'm not telling you what your dream means, but for me, this is what I think of if I was the one dreaming it, because obviously I'm using my own associations and my own mind and experiences to come up with my associations. So it may or may not like sit with you or resonate, and that's okay. That's for the dreamer to decide. And so we can both do that.
Okay.
So I can go first if you want, what came up for me. If this were my dream, I would think about a couple different themes here. When it comes to driving, a lot of times I see that as like a life path thing. So driving and, my life progressing in certain ways, even if I don't know where it's going. And then this big watering hole, to me, it symbolizes like just a big pool of possibilities, the scary stuff, the fun stuff. And there's always like these dangers of like people telling you not to do things or which way direction to go. But in this dream, putting myself as the dreamer in the dreamer's shoes, I chose to take that leap of faith and go in and have fun and do my free time and enjoy this time, even though there's a mix of scary stuff and fascinating things in there. Or maybe in this case, the snake, which is the scary stuff, I wasn't aware of it until after I took the leap of faith. But even so, it wasn't as scary as I thought. So I would also have this theme of like, don't be scared, just do it, have fun, which is that dream character. If you look at all the dream characters have different parts of you, there's that part of me saying, just do it, just jump, have fun. And then there's that part of me saying, no, get out, there's danger. And then of course, the whole theme of feeling responsible for children, which I'm sure is a very common dream theme for mothers. So that's what came up for me. Maybe it hits, maybe it doesn't, but I'd love to know your thoughts as well.
I feel like if this was my dream, I didn't think of the life path thing until you said it, but then it kind of resonated. So I promise I'm not trying, like, that just made sense. Cause I was like, what about the whole driving thing? But like, I felt like it's like you don't know where you're going. And then, but you arrive. And I almost felt like the person in the passenger was maybe kind of doing the driving. Like maybe for me, if I was sitting in a car, didn't know where I was going, and then I get to a watering hole and the person next to me is like, jump in. I think I might feel a little bit of like not in control, maybe like I was letting somebody else drive my life a little bit. I don't know. And then, yeah, like the fact that you jump in anyway, knowing that there's danger. That was the part that was interesting to me, because I think I would feel like I'm trying so hard to say if it was my dream instead of like tell you what to think. But yeah, I think if it was my dream, I would feel like there was some peer pressure there. Then as far as like, if it was my dream and suddenly it changed and then there was an illness happening, I almost feel like it's like making me feel like, okay, the things that I'm worried about aren't the things to be worried about. Like maybe there's more in the big picture going on that could be worse.
Mm-hmm.
That's my thought.
Interesting.
That makes sense.
Okay. So Sam, what do you think? Any thoughts on what you think your dream
don't know.
means?
So after I had this dream, I actually immediately started Googling some of the things. And so one of the biggest things that like really like still not bothers me, but the thing that like still stands out the most about that dream that like just always is like I'm curious about is the falling asleep at the wheel.
Mhm.
Because I've never fallen asleep driving before, but like it's always a little bit of a fear. Like I do know someone who did fall asleep and die from driving and falling asleep. So like that's what fascinated me the most. And from Googling, what seemed to resonate the most with me, just from the ideas that gave, was that maybe I feel like I'm missing an opportunity and that I need to kind of like let loose. Like it's like I'm falling asleep in real life and like I'm missing like what could be. It's kind of what I gathered. And then from hearing you guys give your, thoughts, it reminds me that I did not feel like it was peer pressure to get in. And the only person that would get me to get into the water like that and like, feel safe enough to like do that is my husband. And so that also makes me think like it was him. And so it reminds me of like what was going on in life at that time. We were trying to decide a big move. We were trying to decide, all right, do we move into the house we just renovated and flipped, or do we sell it? What are we doing? And there was a lot of factors. There was a lot of scare factors. There was a lot of like positives, but it was a very big unknown. And we were very much so on the fence and needing to like have a decision. And so it makes me think like, okay, so it had to have been Simon, because he's the only person that I would just blindly jump in after because he says jump, because it's a trust thing.
Right.
And then to your guys' point, like it wasn't scary until something new came in, and then it was scary. And then there's a new responsibility that's like, wasn't planning for. And so it just kind of,
the new responsibility being the sickness or the snakes?
The new responsibility being like maybe the sickness.
Okay.
Like,
interesting.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's really cool. Yeah, so it's good to look at what what was going on in your life at that time, because it can give a lot of context. And I love how you mentioned what you were curious about, because that's something I usually ask and I kind of forgot, is like, what does the dreamer want to know about this dream? So yeah, that falling asleep is definitely an interesting part, and it's kind of like the transition into the next part of the dream. So it definitely seems like some themes related to trust and control.
Change.
Now, what's funny is that, so at that same time when that dream happened, I had done a intuitive reading, and then Melissa did a tarot card reading on me. And it also coincided with needing to let go of the wheel, trust what happens, and that you're moving in the right direction and good things are coming. And so it's like all three of those things happened at the same time. And I was like, we're moving. I think that's it. I'm like,
That's cool. Yeah.
Like you were giving yourself the permission
yeah,
to be okay with it.
I guess so.
Very cool.
Yeah, dreams will help us with big life decisions. Even if we don't realize it, our dreams are kind of helping us prepare for things and process them. So that seems interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
So interesting. This whole conversation. I wish we could keep talking.
I actually find it the most interesting that a lot of what she said seemed to be more in tune with like what it did align with.
Right.
And she does
Right.
not know me.
Right.
And so I find that really interesting.
Yeah, and now you guys know how to like analyze a dream with someone. If someone shares your dream, you ask them some questions, come up with associations for the symbols, and then tell them what comes up for you and make sure you say, hey, but you know, I'm not you, I'm not the dreamer, but this is what I think.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like a way to help a friend who's like in a situation and they're like, oh, and I'm having these wild dreams. You can like, these are clarifying questions you can help them process and go through to help them find a solution that works for them.
Yeah, exactly. And then when those questions lead the dreamer to be like, oh, wow, that makes sense. It's much more rewarding when they come to that conclusion. Even if you were to tell them the same thing, like, oh, your dream could mean this. It's better when they come to the conclusion on their own.
One of my favorite things was how you asked Sam, what do snakes and alligators mean to you in real life? Because it's like, oh yeah, you can Google what do snakes mean in a dream. But yeah, she has her own associations.
Yeah, because what was popping up in Google is that snakes mean that you're afraid of someone particular, like
Being sneaky,
lies,
deceitful or something.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't know. Like who would that be? Like
It didn't resonate. And so you were able to tell yourself no.
yeah, so I would not have thought about, well, what do they mean to me in waking life?
Yeah, exactly. That plays a big role because Google doesn't know you or your experiences. It's just a general statement, which may or may not resonate with some people. But I always tell people to like ask yourself first, what are my associations with these symbols? What are my experiences with them? How do I feel about it? And even sometimes describe it to yourself. Like if you were to describe a snake to like an alien who has never seen one before, sometimes like really getting down to like the materials and the behaviors of the animal or object, you never know, it might come up with something. Then you think about like, okay, what in my waking life acts like this or looks like this or behaves like this, and then you know you start to get deeper with looking at it and comparing it to your life, and then sometimes it'll make more sense that way.
Right.
That's so cool.
That is very
This
cool.
was so fun. I think what we've learned is that a lot of our audience loves when we dabble into something that we have a little bit of curiosity, because then it feeds more curiosity, and then like we just want to learn more about it.
Yeah.
And so I feel like this hits on what our Skirts Up Squad likes from us. And I'm really excited to hear how they resonate with this and what kind of curiosity it sparks in them.
Yeah, I would love to hear some dreams that have been going on. And
Yes. Let us help you.
We're professionals now. No, just kidding.
Our non-expertise. You'll find Amina's information in her website, linked to this episode. Please check her out. Listen to her podcast. It is really fascinating to hear all the people that she has on, their experience and their expertise.
Can I end with just one question?
Yeah.
Like, Amina, is there anything that you feel like we didn't discuss that people who are new to lucid dreaming should know?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's so much that we didn't cover, but I would say try not to just go with things that you see online. Don't have these expectations of what might happen in a dream. There's a lot of misconceptions about lucid dreaming. So really just explore for yourself, explore your own dreams, embrace it with love and curiosity and an open mind. You're safe in the dream space. You're not going to, get stuck or die in the dream. You will still wake up. So try to release fear and limiting beliefs, and just have fun with it. So that's my general advice.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us today. It was so much fun. I was really nervous about this interview because I just felt like I really didn't know a whole lot about it.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of nervous, but I feel like this answers a lot of questions and just sparks a whole lot more of curiosity in it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Amina. You were such a pleasure to talk to as well.
Thank you, Sam and Melissa. It's been so fun and nice talking to you. And yeah, happy to talk more anytime if you guys have more questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Skirts Up Squad, that is what we have for you today. Please, please, please remember to rate and review.
Rate and review.
All right, we'll catch y'all next time.
Bye.